Federal, state, and local governments all have a voice in education, although they don't necessarily speak in unison. Here's a brief look at how the different branches and levels of government influence educational law. The U.S. Constitution does not mention education, but it does guarantee people basic rights that concern schools. There are 3 constitutional amendments that are of special interest to teachers and students. The First Amendment protects freedom of religion, speech, the press or media, and peaceful assembly. The amendment's Establishment Clause prohibits government, including schools, to promote or prohibit religion. The Fourth Amendment prohibits violation of privacy and security without a court warrant. And the 14th Amendment protects citizens' rights to due process and equal protection under the law, no matter where they live in the United States. Many federal laws influence education. The Civil Rights Act of 1964 bars discrimination on the basis of race, color, or national origin. Title IX of the Education Amendments Act of 1972 prohibits discrimination on the basis of sex. And the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act ensures students with a disability are provided with free public education tailored to their individual needs. State and local laws also affect education, leading to significant local and regional differences throughout the nation. State and local statutes often deal with school financing, collective bargaining, teacher certification, and compulsory attendance. Liability is the legal responsibility for one's own acts or omissions. Failure to meet that responsibility as a teacher can leave you open to being accused of negligence and sued for damages. The following are typical situations related to teacher liability. Misfeasance is the failure to conduct in an appropriate manner an act that might otherwise have been lawfully performed. For example, unintentionally using too much force in breaking up a fight. Nonfeasance is the failure to perform an act that one has a duty to perform. For example, the cafeteria situation on page 240 in your text is nonfeasance since the teacher did not supervise an assigned area of responsibility and a student got hurt. Malfeasance is an act that cannot be done lawfully regardless of how it is performed. For example, starting a fistfight or bringing marijuana to school. And educational malpractice is concerned with academic damage or failing to provide an adequate education. In Chapter 8 of your textbook, you will read different case studies on court cases and federal laws. In each case, a situation is described and you will be asked to select an appropriate legal response. After your selection is made, the correct response and relevant court decisions or laws are described. The following topics will be explored. Teachers' rights and responsibilities, applying for a position, protection against sexual harassment, personal lifestyle, academic freedom, legal liability or negligence, freedom of speech, copying published material, and labor rights. Students' Bill of Rights, student records, suspension and discipline, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, search and seizure, freedom of press, immigration problems, and sexual harassment. Be sure to read How Private is Your Personal Life on page 239 of your textbook. The First Amendment guarantees freedom of religion, and it also requires separation of church and state. So one religion is not preferred over any other in government institutions. Check out what the law permits and does not permit when it comes to religion and public schools on page 251 of your textbook. Safely and ethically navigating the online world with your students can be tricky. Read the social networking guidelines on page 258 of your textbook for suggestions on how to stay clear of any issues. Child abuse and neglect includes a range of mistreatments ranging from physical, emotional, and sexual harm. It is your ethical and legal responsibility to report suspected cases of abuse. Failure to report can result in the loss of your teaching license. Check out the dismal statistics on child abuse on page 259 of your textbook.